All right, so we're going to learn the 5 minutes Torah class about this week's Parsha, Matos-Masie. This week is Parsha Chazak. Finished the Chumash Bamidbar, the fifth book of the Torah, and this Shabbos happens to be a very unique Shabbos. It's Rosh Chodesh and Rosh Chodesh Av, and we're reading in the Torah about Rosh Chodesh Av, the passing of Aharon. And that's the question we asked before Mincha. Why is it he's the only one? Aharon is the only one that has his yahrtzeit in the Torah. We don't have Adam Arishon, Moshe Rabbeinu, Avraham, nobody. We know that they passed away, and some it says we figure out when it was, but the only one that in the Torah is that says the yahrtzeit is Aharon. Second question is, when did we read about the passing of Aharon first? A few weeks ago, Parshas Chukas, and over there the Torah doesn't mention the yahrtzeit. Only a few weeks later, this week, when we're talking about the Masaot, the journeys of the Yidden in the desert, it says Vayisu, Vayachnu, right? And when it gets to Vayisu Ba'iraho, Vayachnu Ba'irot, it says Vayomas Sham Aharon. There, Aharon passed away. So that's the questions. So we know something about Aharon. First of all, it says the Shelah Kodesh says that even the things, the events that take place during a certain time is connected with the weekly portion. In other words, even though the Torah is divided, we start reading on Simchas Torah and we finish, and the order is not necessarily connected with the time, but has some kind of connection. That's what the Shiloh says, Rabbi, the Shiloh Kodesh. And where do we see it clearly is in this week's Parsha, about Aharon. Passed away, we spoke about a few weeks ago, but now we read it. And why is it? Because we always read the portions of Matos-Masie, always in the time of Rosh Chodesh Av. But why is it that he had the schus? So we know, it says about the difference between Moshe Rabbeinu and Aharon. It says when Moshe Rabbeinu passed away, it says, Vayivku Oisei kol Bnei Yisrael. The sons of Israel cried for Moshe Rabbeinu. And there the Torah says that it was different than Aharon. By Aharon, the entire congregation cried for Aharon. Men, women, everybody. But Moshe Rabbeinu was more than men. Why is that? Because Aharon was the one that was mashkin sholem. He was bringing peace. He was bringing peace between people. Two friends that were fighting, as we know, it says the Medrash, two people who were fighting. He would go approach each person separately. Says, Yankel, Moshe told me he loves you so much. You feel so bad, it's so terrible. And the same thing he says to Moshe. You know what Yankel told me? He feels so terrible that he's fighting with you. And they come, they meet, and they hug each other and they make up. And the same thing also with between husband and wives. You would see the husband and wife fighting, and separately will tell them, your wife can't do it without you, and it will tell them each one what they want to hear, and they make peace. So in other words, Aharon was using something which was not really true. The Gemara says from here we learn that we are allowed to change for the sake of peace. But really, Aharon to say something which is not true. So it's interesting that the Rebbe says over here, first of all, the fact that the yahrtzeit is now Rosh Chodesh Av, 1,500 years later, where what happened on this time, it was the destruction. So just like then, the entire people were crying, asking for Aharon. So every year again, when it comes Rosh Chodesh Av, it's the time of the mourning, is in the time of the yahrtzeit when Aharon passed away. But this is from the negative side of the story. But it's also the positive from this. The Rebbe says what the Torah says. But b'chamishi, be'echad lachodesh. He passed away in the 5th month and the 1st day of the month. The 1st day represents Achdus. It is also hinting, the Torah is hinting us, what is the cause of all the tsaras, all the trouble? The cause is the separation, and the cure is the Achdus, the Echad Lachodesh, the one day in the month. Just like Aharon HaKohen, he went out of his way to make peace and to unite the people. And the same thing is here. The Echad Lachodesh is the cause of the Geulah, the cause of the exile, the cause of the trouble in the world is the separation. Sinas Chinam. It says that the destruction, the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of baseless hatred. So that the way of fixing it is baseless, without love, without any reason to love. And this is one thing I found the Rebbe says somewhere else, that the churban, the destruction, really is not a destruction. It says that the Rambam says that these days of mourning will turn into a Yom Tov, will turn into a holiday. Why is it turning into a holiday? I mean, I can understand once the Beis Hamikdash will be built, no more mourning. But why a holiday? Because really the mourning, the sufferings has deep inside them something positive. It's not for the purpose of suffering. A person goes through challenges is to make him stronger, to make him better. The destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash, or the second Beis Hamikdash, was to build something greater, something bigger. So really deep inside the destruction, it is a holiday to begin with. From start, it's a holiday. Except we don't see it, we only see the darkness. Now, Mashiach come will turn into the holiday. And perhaps we could say the same thing is about Aharon HaKohen. When he saw two people fighting, and he was telling them, oh, you know what he said? It wasn't really lying. It wasn't really a lie. Because deep inside, every Yid wants to have the peace. The Avas Yisrael wants to have the love. And when we follow this way of Aharon HaKohen, Zat Hashem will be zeicha, very soon, to building the Beis Hamikdash and the coming of Mashiach.
Amen.